So welcome all to this virtual roadshow. It's all about knowledge sharing and self-service success. So we organize this together. So the operations team represented by me and John and Lennert take care of the SDL community. So it's a joint effort that we're, Lennert's also going to present some slides later on. And what we try to achieve is really to inform you more about what we can do in the community, in the knowledge base, to make sure that we reach our customers in the right way. So to kick that off, I want to start with this example. So imagine you're at home, you're installing a program you found on the internet that monitors behavior of your kids on your home computer. Then you're almost done, and then you get this internal error message. I'm wondering now, what is it that you would do? And I'm just going to open the lines and ask you guys. So for example, Dog, what would you do if this happens to you?
Well, you can try reinstalling. You can also look up the error message on the internet.
Okay, reinstall and look up. Good ideas. I don't know, Pallavi, is there something you would do? Pallavi?
Judith, I think Pallavi has not joined.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw her name.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do repair and install.
And then you run into it again. What would you do?
I'll repair and reinstall.
Repair and reinstall. Okay, you must be a support engineer. Yeah. Rajit?
I'll try to reinstall. If I get the same error, I'll just search with that error if there are any articles on the same. So if I don't find anything on the article side, I'll try to check it on docs.sdl.com. If I don't get there as well, probably I go with the internet and browse.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay. Well, yeah, actually, what I wanted to get to this is that logging a support ticket or calling the vendor is actually not something that is our first reaction. If you want an instant answer, you're pressed by time, you want to get it over and done with, what you can do is Google it, right? So no longer we're used to having just one single channel, so to have a phone or a ticketing system. What we want is to have different ways of fixing the issue, look at what other people have done. We want to, where we used to be forced by the vendor, by the processes of the vendor of, between that time and that time you can call us. If you have a contract, you can log a ticket. We have a much more result-driven way of looking at things. We want to have the answer to our question, and how we get it is less important. Google it. Whatever you find there is good for us. So where we used to kind of force our customers to follow certain processes, we still have processes, obviously, but our processes are much more focused on letting us know, us work as efficient as possible to make our customers more and more successful with our products.
Can I interrupt with one thing?
You can.
One slide back. What is important in this, when we started, is that people were saying, I will search the internet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you find an answer, we should be you are very happy, grateful that someone took the effort to put it out there. And that's actually one of the things that we want to keep, you to consider when you solve something, get it out so that the next time when someone hits it, he will or she will find it. It can be in KM, it can be in community. There are loads of ways to do that. The point is that at one point someone needs to say, hey, I'm hitting this and I did this to solve it. I mean, otherwise, you know, the content needs to get out.
Yep. Correct.
So to that point, that sharing knowledge, what you're doing then is power. That's what it is. But access to that knowledge should also be very easy nowadays. It must be available at any time, anywhere, on any channel, at any repository. So because for customers, it really doesn't matter where the information is available, as long as it's easily find and usable. So that's what John already said. People simply don't want to speak with us. They want the information they need as fast and easy as possible. Also, what you came back with in the question from Judith is, I'm going to search on it for Google. I don't care where it is, as long as the answer is correct, and I'll use it. So we're moving to a self-service experience that relies on empowering customers through knowledge gained in communities and from the knowledge base. So, but by using the community in combination with the knowledge base, we can start getting ready for the 21st century of support. You did mention something about it already, is offering proactive support, actually. So we're moving from creating articles after the issue was raised to posting and sharing articles before the issue occurs. So, in other words, letting our customers know where they can find the solution if they land on a specific issue. And the self-service quality is a shared responsibility for community and the knowledge base. So we have the same goal, the same destination, and that's customer success. But the way we try to facilitate it is a bit different. So on the slide here we see the SDL community and SDL support, and the differences there I'll explain. But there are differences, but we have the same goal, the customer success, and that's what the self-serve enablement on the bottom is. So let me explain what the differences are between the two platforms we're using. So the SDL community on the left side is what we call, well, unstructured, and it's triggered by users' domain experts questions or blog posts, for instance. And it's possible to start a discussion or question in any group or forum on the community. The content of these questions might also be either technical, non-technical. It really doesn't matter as long as it's related to SDL. One of the biggest differences is that the community is open to anyone. Whenever you're signed up, you're able to start contributing. Really anybody can be in the community. Colleagues, customers, partners, and even our customers, for example. Here we want to make it very easy for anyone to be in contact with SDL and other customers to get opinions, share knowledge, and help one another. It's really about sharing knowledge again, just like on the previous slide. If you share it, then it will be viewed by someone. And if somebody else shares it, you can view it, and it might be useful for you. And on the other side, support, or the gateway, which is triggered by support cases, and instead of people being able to contribute, authoring is limited to SDL's global support team and domain experts only. So customers can only consume the mainly technical content, like known issues and how-to explanations. It's really a one-way communication. That's a big difference between the community. And with our knowledge base, we want to offer a self-serve online library of information about our products, services, departments, and other topics. So again, the SDL support and SDL community combined, that's what we really want to have, and that's also what you see on this slide, enable self-service for customers using our products and services. So being active and available in both creates the best experience for our customers and should solve a lot of their issues for them without needing to contact support. That's when they look on Google and find the answer they were looking for, and they really don't care where it comes from, and if it's on the community or support, that doesn't really matter as long as we have the answers available. So just to emphasize on the next slide. So together, community and knowledge base, we share the same goal of moving to a self-service experience that relies on empowering customers through knowledge gained in communities and the knowledge base. Again, the combination. This is also what the customers expect from us and what we need to deliver nowadays. And apart from all the background that I gave you about the platforms and what it is, of course, you can go in and possibly some of you know the community and the knowledge base already. But we were also interested in, apart from that it's useful for our customers and it's useful for SDL as a company, we wanted to find out what's in it for you. If you want to go and look into the community, what's in it for you. So we found Dave de Meyer. He's in Belgium. He's working for the Trulli and Docs team, and we asked him. Yeah, he's very active. What's in it for you? Why are you in there? What makes it fun for you? So what he came back with is that he thinks, well, helping is fun. If you help someone, it will make you feel good, and eventually that'll make you feel good. Because if you're answering the question that seems, well, very easy for you, but it's a little thing that the customer or maybe a partner doesn't understand, you can help them. That I can promise you they will be happy with any answer that you give. Also, it brings you closer to the customer or the user of the community because you're in direct contact with them. And being active in the community is also what he said, a nice/useful activity to fill up, for instance, 3 minutes of spare time. And it extends your network and builds a reputation as an expert, because they are really going to rely on your answer or your reply after a couple of, after some time. They really rely on what you are saying. So yeah, that's why what's in it for them.
I did some collection of quotes myself as well. Paul, you're on this call. I used yours. When she said, unfortunately, the customer did not find the existing information on their own and needed to open a case, but from my perspective, it was one of the fastest cases in some time. And I used your quote because it illustrates actually it's not only the external usage of knowledge sharing, but it's also internally for colleagues as well. So what was investigated and done by one person one day can be reused and lead to a faster solution of the issue in a later day. And then Raphael in Cluj said, I recently reused an article I remember I wrote a long time ago. And at that point I thought it would be a one-off, but I wrote it anyway. I saved myself a lot of time and trouble by not having to redo the whole investigation over again. The case was closed quickly, customer was happy. This one really illustrates, I think, that what you think is a one-off at a certain point can be very, very useful and valuable at a later stage. And it's not only for you that it can be useful, but also for people around the globe in other teams that do run into the same issue. It may even be a different version or slightly different environment, but it at least it can do is giving clues on where to find the answer, on how to troubleshoot, where to search for the solution. Then Jairesh said, a bit similar to Dave in the previous slide, I feel good about writing articles and being able to help others. So I think that's a very good feeling to have if you are a support engineer. And then Brian from the Dalian team, he was on site at a customer, and then he was doing his thing, and then he ran into a very strange browser issue I'd never seen before. He found an article in the knowledge base and was able to fix it. So imagine you're at a customer site, you have someone watching over your shoulder, that error pops up. What do? Well, finally he found that solution that helped him. So not only for support engineers, not only for customers, but also for our colleagues in, for example, professional services who are on customer sites all the time, or pre-sales consultants, or sometimes even sales. It really enables them to be helped out and put on the spot at a customer site. And this slide is not to bore you out with numbers, but it's really to illustrate that what we produce together is actually being looked at a lot. So at the top in the left corner you see the internal article views. Per month we have almost 60,000 article views in the internal knowledge base. So really, and the line is still increasing, so the trend is increasing. So really it is worthwhile what you produce, it is being looked at. Same below that you see the article views in Gateway, almost 10,000 a month, also increasing all the time, and we expect that trend to go up as well. What is being written by us in Gateway is really being looked at. This is where our customers are, and this is also where our colleagues are. On the right side you see the numbers for community.
Yeah, so for the community, same trend actually. You see the line going up, and we're very happy with that. Apart from the seasonal dip in December, but for the rest, we're very happy with the number. We see a lot of people coming, if you can see it from far away or on your screens, it's a bit small, but it's around, well, above 30,000 users every month coming to the community in 2018. So yeah, a lot of people coming to the community and viewing what's in there, asking questions, helping each other out. And actually it's around 95% of the people are externals actually coming to the community. So it's really good to see that not only we are in there, but mostly externals like customers, partners, etc. are really coming to the community. So we're kind of proud of the numbers that we see here. And apart from the typical activity reports we make, we also have reports available for managers on knowledge sharing activity of people in SDL at all levels. This way, managers can see which of their reports are already starting to collaborate and share in the SDL community or knowledge base. It's not to scare you, by the way, but it's simply to show you that we have these reports at our disposal. And if you look at the screen in the middle, you can see, well, if you can filter on a manager, and then you can see who of the team did what in that month. So in the middle you see the percentage of the team that is registered to the community already. We have these numbers. Also the percentage of the team are active in the community. And for the knowledge base we have some well, nice numbers as well. Who is contributing, the percentage of the team, and also who is linking already from that team. So for some teams it's already part of their monthly recaps to see who did what. Of course not mandatory to be active in both, although we'd love to see the number of people who are sharing in the community and knowledge base grow. So it's good to have these numbers to see who's doing what, and yeah, are we already as SDL then doing something. And we have a lot of different applications in the community that you can use. That's also what was viewed in this in the previous slide. And well, just to explain, some of you have seen the community already, but for those who didn't, you can do a lot of things. You can do the larger, more time-consuming things like writing a blog post, which can take 2 to 3 hours, maybe even longer, if you want to really have an extensive, long blog post. But that's not always the things that people need. We also, it's very good to use the small, easy to do things like voting for an idea in the left upper corner. There's an idea there. It's called publishing process status notification. Well, for instance, if you're a Chilean Docs user, very much, and you know how you want to see what are the customers now thinking, what ideas do they have. Well, actually, these ideas are really taken into consideration by product managers and product owners to see for the next release of the product. So you can just go in, and if you like the idea or dislike the idea, you can simply up or down vote on the idea, or maybe give a comment, give some feedback, and tell them what you think about the idea, or maybe even raise your own idea. So these kind of things, like the second thing, like liking a post or rating a post, these small things really matter. This also will give some insight in what are now quality posts and what are the good posts on the community, and that will give some more insight to others that are viewing. But on the other hand, on the right hand side, we have the forum posts, for instance. Well, again, if you're using Chilean Docs a lot and you go into the Chilean Docs forum, which is on the community, then you can see if is somebody raising a question. Do they have difficulties with something maybe in installing, or they have a bug or anything? You can, and you know how to work around it, or you know the solution. And why don't you just reply? It doesn't have to be the exact answer, that it must be the extensive answer. You can just reply in a couple of sentences, and you're not obliged to go in and keep replying. That's a good thing about the SDL community. Or maybe if you have a question yourself, you can just go in and ask a question there. I'm sure somebody will come back to you. So it's not about the long extensive things, but it's also about the small things of liking, voting, and maybe answering or replying to someone.
Similarly, in the knowledge base, we have rating articles. That's that thumbs up, thumbs down thing you see at the top of every single article. And actually, it is important that you use it. If you find an article that is really good, useful for you, giving answers, well explained, everything, make sure that you click that like thumb thing, because it actually has an importance for the ranking of search results. So the more likes some article gets, the higher up it comes, it shows up in search results. Similarly, actually, for linking articles to cases, the more cases are linked to an article, also there, the higher up it appears in search results. So linking is not only useful for the KPI, but also for the training of the search engine, the fine-tuning. It can be like a reference for customers to look at when they have a similar issue. They can see that in their case list. They see the article that is attached to it, but also colleagues, when they do a search in Salesforce, they can easily find the relevant article to it. And later on, we'll see for domain analysis, knowledge domain analysis, that is very useful to do all kinds of analysis on hot topic, where do support spend time on, what type of issues are we working on, all that kind of thing. That's very useful for linking as well. If you see an article that is not slightly up to date, or even if it is a typo, or you have a screenshot of an error message that is not in the current article that you find, or anything that can improve the article, can improve the findability, the usability, make sure that you make that update and that you edit the existing article. And that's important because articles are not owned by people, they're owned by the whole group, so we are all responsible for making it as good as possible. Now, if you find the answer in community or in docs.sdl.com, you don't have to recreate the article to copy the content over. That's really not a useful thing, because if the answer is findable by the user, you can refer them to it, because then that is the place where the answer actually exists. What you need to do then is make sure that you set your resolution to documentation, your subcategory to documentation request, and add the link, the URL, to where you found the answer in the resolution description. This is also a field that is visible to customers, so again, very useful as a reference if it pops up later on. Very useful for colleagues if they find a case that is close to what they're searching for. And as a bonus, it's also counting as a valid link. So if nothing can be found, make sure that you create a new article. Don't bother about the ones that I put a red line through. Use the FAQ or the solution article template, because those are really the relevant templates for solve loop articles, so articles coming from cases. The difference between the two is that FAQs typically don't have a root cause and solution articles do. So those two really important templates to use. And then last but not least, I think what we can all contribute to is to do a bit of promotion of Gateway and community while you are in contact with your customer, while solving the case. Point them to the knowledge base, point them to the community, point them to the place where you found the answer. So, we kind of help them finding relevant places for them to find answers to questions and be more successful with our products. So that actually brings me to the end of this presentation. Do you have any questions, any feedback, comments?
Hey Judith, in some of the notes, there's really the chart for internal views and views on different pages for the articles. If we went back to those different charts, how are like internal article views calculated? Like if we do lots of searches internally and we find 10 different potential hits, is it only if we click into each one of those to kind of see if they apply?
Yeah, really the URL has to, I'm not sure how it technically works in Salesforce, but really the page, the article has to be open.
So if we've opened 100 different articles looking for one that matches what we currently are working on, but haven't found what we're doing, like how is that 100?
Still a view, yeah.
It's still calculated as a view, okay.
Yeah. Similarly, obviously, for gateway
gateway
article
ones.
views, we don't know if it was a successful view. That's the difficulty of measuring success, because you can't measure what is not there. You can only measure if they did not find it and log the case, right? I mean, you cannot measure if they did not log a case. So what you have to work around with is the number of visitors, the number of views. If it's not useful, people don't come back. Obviously, with the line increasing, people do come back and people do look at articles.
It's good to see the monthly visitors increasing. I think that definitely is a key.
Yeah.
I think the viewing is less predictive of success, but to have it growing it means it's being used. That's true.
Yeah, and there is always this discussion you have. I think Microsoft has it in the knowledge base. You have this button, was this successful? Was this answering your question or something? And even though it sounds like a good idea to have that, because then you can measure it, there are studies that actually only people who are really outspoken yes or no press that button, and the rest doesn't really care. So even if you would have that, it's still so difficult to measure the success of the actual article. But yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Good point. Anything else? No? Then I'll leave you to your day. Thank you for your attendance, and I'm sure we speak soon.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.